Okay, sir. Respected Sri R.V. Saiji, President, India Energy Forum, a former Secretary, Power Government of India, esteemed speakers, eminent personalities attending the webinar, distinguished delegates, participants, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of the India Energy Forum and the TND Group, panelists, participants to this webinar on emerging technology and business model in distributions. As you all know, the distribution sector today is at a very important stage. Discoms are expected to deliver reliable, equity, quality, and affordable power, and also remain financially viable. But at the same time, manage rapid changes brought about by renewable energy, electric vehicles, digitalization, new customer expectation. These are the challenges. Technology-wise, we are not so behind. Technologies such as distributed energy resources, energy storage, EV charging, artificial intelligence, automation, and drones are no longer future concepts. They are already influencing how distribution networks are planned, operated, and maintained. Along with technology, new business models are also emerging, which require fresh thinking from utilities, regulators, and policymakers. The objective of today's webinar is to share practical experience from utilities and technology providers, understand what is working on the ground today, and discuss how these developments can be scaled in the Indian context. We are fortunate to have with us very experienced speakers who are directly involved in the implementing these solutions. I am confident that today's discussion will be insightful and useful for all stakeholders. With these brief remarks, I request Sri R.V. Saiji, President India Energy Forum, to kindly deliver the opening and presidential address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. I.S. Jha, the Chairman of the Transmission Distribution Vertical of the India Energy Forum. Many of you may not know we have several verticals on different issues, and we cover not only power, but we cover coal, we cover petroleum sector, and within power, renewable, conventional, thermal groups, transmission, distribution, regulation, research, and all these verticals organize webinars. Roughly 1 to 2 webinars we organize every month, and each vertical organizes at least one, the national conference every year, and that is not virtual, that is non-virtual. Recently, we did the program on the power sector in general. Now, coming back to today's agenda of distribution sector and technology for distribution sector. And all of you know that this is one area which has been a very weak area of our sector. We did the Electricity Act, we opened up generation, we opened up transmission. In generation, we have now, when we entered this century, we had less than 100,000 megawatt. Today, we have crossed 500,000 megawatt capacity. We de-licensed generation, removed many of the hurdles that were causing the delays in clearances and in moving forward. We made it attractive because country needs power. In terms of where we are in power sector, when we talk of global context, absolutely we are nowhere. We are around perhaps less than 500, 1500 kilowatt hour per head per year, which is nowhere actually. So therefore we have a long way to go. Somehow we have been able to cover in the last 25 years of this century the rural area of power, electricity supply. Industry is getting power. But then India has to move forward with the agenda of Viksit Bharat, which will need almost 5 times of per capita power consumption, which would mean again 4 to 5 times of power generation that we are having today. With renewables, our power generation supply side is comfortable. As it is now, the way renewables have moved forward, even during daytime, we have sort of stranded capacity. Now, there are people who say it is because of transmission that they are stranded. There are people who say that demand is not there so much. So we have to see what the real cause is. But in any case, transmission infrastructure cannot be created with a gestation of 6 months to 1 year, which is the gestation period of the solar system. Solar system can come within a year. So transmission takes at least 3 to 4 years after you have decided to do the transmission, tendering and work, etc. So it is a tough job. But then at least the provisions do not stand in the way of transmission being built. You have private sector coming in transmission, public sector coming in transmission, and slowly that area is growing through the tariff-based competitive bidding. Somehow distribution has remained, and it has remained for almost always, in fact, 50, 60 years, it has remained the weakest link of the whole electricity sector, the weakest. Whatever we try to do several things on other fronts. Even fuel is not badly placed. They have opened up coal sector also. Now we have enough coal, though there are little bit of imports, but maybe within a period of a year or two, for power sector, we may not need to import coal. We may need to export coal from here. Distribution has remained where it was, except for a few organizations, few distribution companies. Large number of distribution companies are having a staggered loss. Cumulative losses in terms of 7-8 lakh crores. It's not a small figure. Every year we are losing close to 60-70,000 crores. I think that is one area where the problem is. Technology-wise, we are able to supply power. Even in rural area, power supply is quite okay. Urban area, industry, they are getting power, so there is no difficulty. But commercial side of electricity sector, when I started looking after distribution directly in my career, when I was heading the Mumbai Electric way back in 94, 95, for about 7 years. And that's the time, and even after I came to the ministry, I raised this issue with the IMA group. That why is it that in the telecom sector, nothing is connected? It used to be connected in your telephone earlier. Now it is, or mobile is not connected. Your laptop is not connected. Television is not connected. Mobile phone, you talk to USA, you talk to UK, you talk anywhere. So many service providers, infrastructure providers are in the route, but billing is not a problem. So we have been able to capture the sound energy and transmission system of your voice, transmission system of your data, transmission system of your drawings, everything. And whichever service providers come in the steps of delivery, all are paid, all are compensated, all are measured. Here, there is a great advantage that everything is connected. Perhaps that is the greatest disadvantage, I would say. If everything was not connected, perhaps we could have done a better job. So I gave a challenge to the IMA experts and IMA industry in general, and scientists and engineers, all of us put together. Let us innovate that if can electricity consumption be measured at the measurement point without connectivity? Though it has happened in case of sound. And everything is accurately measured and paid. Here, several rounds of changes of meters have happened. From the time, as I said, I have directly got in touch with the distribution sector. That is close to, please mute yourself. That is close to 30 years. In 30 years' time, I have seen this issue is haunting us, haunting and haunting and haunting. And every time the solution is suppliers driven. I see my theory is, and though we have done this, we are doing this program, let this not again be a supplier driven program. Somebody comes with new idea. It used to be mechanical meters, electromechanical meters. It became static meters. Static meters had all the features, and I deployed them in Mumbai. We were comfortable. Then further innovation on meters. Now it is a smart meter. Smart meter we have deployed in a large number of states in a very significant way. And now I am getting the story even of a smart meter. People are bypassing a smart meter itself. There are stories that are coming. You have meter in between. You have the supply of electricity and you have the consumption. In between, you have the smart meter, but they are bypassing the smart meter. So I raised this issue when this smart meter was being presented. I did raise this issue that what if the smart meter itself is bypassed? I was chairing the task force of Rajasthan for 4 years. Mr. Verma is here. He was a member on that. And to our surprise, we came to know in terms of tens of thousands, transformers were being set up by consumers. Large group of agriculturists, large group of consumers. So what to talk of meter? Transformer itself, from the transformer itself, they are connecting to the system and they are getting the electricity. So I think this is a problem which has been evading solution. Today's program, when Mr. Jha spoke to me, I said, this is a great program. Let us get some new ideas. Answer this question that whatever device you are putting in place, whatever name you call it, if that device is itself bypassed between the source of supply or the supply cable or wire that is coming and the consuming unit, whether it is air conditioner, telephones, refrigerators, whatever. If you do that, how are you able to handle this? The only way till now I have come to understand is that about a particular meter, if there is an unusual behavior, then unusual behavior can be giving a signal. I may tell you, if you are going to say that, in 95, that unusual behavior, we were trying to find out from the computerized system that if somebody's bill has been 5,000 rupees a month, why is it in a couple of months it is coming to 1,000? So computer output used to come in Mumbai, and we will send our people and find out. If that is the type of innovation even now it is happening, then it will not help. It has to be instantaneous so that corrections can be made. So I think device, AI, non-AI, computerized, new meters, smart meters, whether they can answer this mischief. They can answer, they can provide an answer. We can't get rid of mischief. When Delhi was privatized, I was closely associated, instrumental in privatization of Delhi. Some of the stories that came, in the underground basement, people were running in a factory, lathe and milling machine and boring machine, and underground cable they had taken. Totally, there is no meter in between, and that factory, 4 or 5 lathes and a few milling machine and boring machine and all that, and they were drilling machine, everything was there, and they are doing that. So I think when a particular device is bypassed deliberately, what is the answer with us? So I think this is a well-timed program. Even now, when we are trying to expand this industry in a significant way, only question that is coming to mind, what do we do it? So institutional change is one. That is DISCOM in the way? Is the DISCOM staff is the reason for this, that they are not vigilant about this? So we can't blame innocent staff either. What is the technology solution to a deliberate attempt and deliberate action of indulging in theft of electricity. That is the challenge today. If that challenge is not answered, then the rest of the things will be the managerial thing. If it is with the government control, political system, take it out of the political system, and then we will see how private sector handles it, because it is their money. Today they think it is electricity, it is being given by the government, and therefore we can afford to indulge in all these matters. So administrative solutions, political solutions is a different issue. The technical solution to answer this challenge would be the need of the hour. And if we don't set right technically, then the only solution will be that this sector institutionally has to be opened up, and then let it be organized, let it be managed. After all, rest everything more essential things than electricity is not being done by the government, and they are getting paid. A shopkeeper, a barber, and all types of shops, they are able to collect their money. Only electricity is the one where we have this challenge that continues to be for decades. I think with this brief introduction, which was very ably presented by Mr. IS Jha himself, I would earnestly request all our speakers. I will look forward to learning on what are the latest things that are happening, but applications part of it, considering the situations of India. India is not like many other countries where these things don't happen. So therefore, considering the situation of India, let us have the deliberations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. You are right, sir. Technology is things are in our hands. Things are moving. Thank you very much, sir, for setting the context and sharing your valuable perspective. Now we are moving towards the technical session, sir. Just I'm giving the outline. There are two sessions which are having the 45 to 50 minutes. And in each session there are two presentations, and then we'll have little discussion. The first session is basically focusing on the integration of behind the meter resources, such as renewables, DER, distributed energy resources, energy storage, and electrical vehicles, which are increasingly influencing distribution system planning and operation. The first presentation is by BRPL. Mr. Abhishek Ranjan is joining us at 4 o'clock. So we are moving straight to the presentation number 2 for the session 1. For that, I invite Sri Nilesh Kane. He is the Chief Transmission Business and Mumbai Distribution, Tata Power. Sri Kane has extensive experience across generation, transmission, distribution, renewable, as well as smart grid projects. Mr. Kane, please go ahead.
So good afternoon, and thank you very much for this opportunity to participate in today's webinar. The subject which is given to me is EV charging, the changing load profile, and V2G, an opportunity for the grid balancing. So I will be speaking on the electric vehicle charging system, how it is impacting on the distribution load profile, and what are the opportunities available to balance the grid overall, and what is the growth which is being expected over a period of time in the distribution sector as well as the EV sector. So this is a typical picture of India's EV journey and the market growth potential. Initially in 2018, when the central government and all the state government has pushed for the EVs, this total sale was less than 1%, which has been increased to 8%. It is projected to more than 15% by 2030. You could see the graph that the total percentage of the sale out of the total vehicles being sold in India is now 8%, and more than 20 lakh EV vehicles are being sold, including the three-wheeler, two-wheelers, and four-wheelers. So less than 1% total sale in 18 increased to 8%. Over 6.5 million EVs are now operating on the roads. The issue of range anxiety and all is being resolved over a period of time. The total, the top 5 states, especially UP, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu and Bihar, with their policies, around 50% sales are there in that states, and the 90% contribution is of the 2 and 3-wheeler in the overall sale. The more importantly, the policies of the different states like Maharashtra and UP is pushing for more electric vehicles in their states. So obviously, if you look at the history in the FAME 1 and FAME 2, the FAME 1 came in 2021 and is being also extended with the latest one. Latest PME drive policy in 2024 is also pushing for more than 10,000 crore of the scheme to push and motivate people to have more EV. Demand incentive for the EV total amounting around more than 8,000 crore, and the charging infrastructure for 2,000 crore, and testing agency accreditation is around 780 crores. We have seen that Ministry of Heavy Industries and all other Ministry of Power and all other industries at the central level as well as at the state levels are pushing for the EV, sales to be increased and being used in two-wheeler, three-wheeler, and four-wheeler. And the EV sale is a testament, to the success of Ministry of Heavy Industries flagship scheme. Maybe the FAME 1, FAME 2, as well as the electricity mobile promotion scheme and a PM EV drive schemes. Rather, few policies from the different states, are very good, to push for the more sales. Especially the Maharashtra EV policy, they are subsidizing two-wheeler, three-wheeler, and four-wheeler. More importantly, they are also waiving the tax and toll waivers, and the public charging infrastructure at 25 kilometers. As I earlier mentioned, to avoid the range anxiety, all this availability of the chargers is also being ensured by the state government by pushing. UP policy and Gujarat EV policies are also in place by reducing the tax on the EV vehicles or the exemption on the EV vehicle tax. Purchase subsidies and all, registration fee waivers and all. So these are all initiatives taken by the central government and the state governments is being very helpful for the increasing, the EV sales. And obviously, we are discussing from the power distribution point of view. This is also increasing, the EV consumption from the load curve of the particular distribution is concerned. Now, I will discuss in detail, in the subsequent slides. That for typically less than 1% of the consumption of the typical distribution utilities of the EVs, which is now increasing up to 3 to 4% after these policies are being rolled out, and the people are more inclined towards purchase of the electric vehicles. Next slide. This is I will be only sharing a use case by the Tata Power and how the Tata Power as a distribution company as well as the charge point operator, how we are operating and how we are complementing each other to increase. For example, as a charge point operators, we have 600 more cities. Rather, we have rolled out one program with the Tata Power, what we call K2K. The range anxiety is the major issue for adopting the electric vehicle. So we have done one program, K2K, Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Every 50 to 100 kilometers, at least chargers should be available. So we have 600, ready cities where chargers are available. We have good presence on the bus chargers, which are predominantly the bigger chargers, 120, 240, 300 kilowatt chargers. We have some 200 chargers, 400 public chargers, and obviously the home charger is the big thing. More than 1.35 lakhs we have a home charger. And we are also pushing that, in the distribution companies, wherever we are operating, we are trying to use the EV vehicle for the operation, maintenance, metering, and all activities, such that, the applications of the vehicle, usability of the EV chargers, as well as, the sustainability, all these things are being taken care of. So, Mumbai, we are operating with more than 200 vehicles being used for the operation, maintenance, and the metering activities. This is, typically the charge points, how it is. If you could see, out of total 1,500 charge points, 846 points are, the simple public charging system. The fleet charging system is also coming in a big way. You could see one picture. The fleet charging is becoming very famous, especially the bigger cities like Mumbai and Delhi. There are many charge points are available and vehicles can come and charge their vehicles. So that number is also increasing in a big way. And obviously the public charging points. So right now, roughly the ratio between the different categories, the bus charge point, the semi-charge point, and public charging point, a typical study of the Mumbai, I would like to share you that the number of public charging points are now being increasing based on the utilization, but the fleet is coming in a big way, and the bus charging, obviously the predominantly more consuming or the more consumption-based charge points. We have, shown some pictures where the BEST bus charging is happening at Malbani and Shivajinagar depot for the information on the bus charging. Bus depot, this is something big, which is changing the paradigm of the EV charger and the consumption from the distribution point of view. Many cities, including Delhi, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, Hyderabad, everywhere, the fleet capacity is between 100 to even 400, and the charging capacity is also roughly ranging from 10 megawatt even up to 20-25 megawatt. So this is a big chunk of the charging which is affecting the load curve of a distribution company. This is a picture, and in many cities the EV buses as well as the EV bus charging points are coming, and a sizable load of the EV buses is also coming up. So this is a typical picture how it is impacting the load curve of a particular distribution company. That's why I'm showing the simultaneous charging of 55-65% of the fleet. The DC charge point is of 120 single gun, double gun charging. 120 kilowatt is a single gun, 240 kilowatt is a double gun bus charging. And the typical EV bus is being used for the batteries of 250 to 300, 320 kilowatt hour capacity for the bus charging. Despite the charger capacity addition, the major challenge from the utility point of view is that the utilization. You could see there are 4 types of the EV chargers are being used. The bus chargers, the fleet chargers, the public chargers, and the semi-public chargers. Obviously, you could see that average utilization of the bus charger is only 25-30%, but the rest of the utilization is very low. Earlier it was less than 1 or 2%. Now it has increased to 3% or 5%. And the fleet, even sizable, the consumption is happening, but still a lot of efforts are required, to increase, the percentage charging or the charging utilization of all these chargers. Tata Power has taken, initiative that we have network operating center where we are, monitoring the, the charger utilization and accordingly making more charger available at few points or shifting the chargers is also being done. As well as we are giving in, real-time information to every vehicle user such that which charger at which location is readily available, or which is a star charger. We call it star charger, which is a charger in demand. The chargers at the locations like the railway stations or the airport, or the bus stations, or in the different malls, and also the star chargers, availability of the chargers also is being monitored real time to the network operating center, and we are giving this real time information to the mobile app to the various vehicle users. Now the utility perspective, if you look at as a Tata Power is a distribution utility in Mumbai, we have done a study, and if you look at the utility perspective of the EV charging, what is the energy opportunity and what are the challenges of a utility, and how EV EV load or the EV consumption will play an important role. If you could see the graph, the EV sale of the million units is growing at CAGR of 14 to 15% this decade. The EV sale, obviously, it's very less, despite a lot of the initiatives of the state policies and central policies. The EV sale is still less than 1% of the overall sale, but the trend is structurally upward, expected to 4 to 5% by this decade, with a lot of more initiatives. I will be going to discuss that. Tariff, definitely a recent tariff order in Maharashtra is only allowing the utility to collect the money on average cost of supply. There is no fixed charges on the EV tariff, but still it is less than 1% and likely to increase to 4 to 5% after the trajectory of the EV sales will be increased over a period of time. One very good thing which has happened here in Maharashtra is that under the demand side management program also, they have allowed us to have the chargers at free of cost at various locations, including housing societies and all, to make people comfortable and use more electric vehicles at as a place being of customer here in Maharashtra. And so, if you look at the load curve of the utility and the load curve where what is the consumption is happening by the EV chargers, look at this is the last year's the overall EV load vis-a-vis the load curve, and you could see that the DISCOM demand because of the EV is increasing substantially during night time, where the substantial charging pattern has been seen. Afternoon it is increasing for topping up of the charging of the different vehicles, and obviously during early morning hours also some sort of the charging profiles could be seen. So you could see the load curve of the utility and superimposed with the consumption pattern of the EV load being monitored typically. I will discuss more on this, how this has been used and how the type of, the time of day tariffs and all other things can motivate to shift this load or to optimize this load, and how this can complement a load curve of a particular utility. You could see, the demand paradigm for the DISCOM. This is the demand paradigm. If you look at the demand paradigm vis-a-vis the time of day use, recently, say the night time is, between 12 o'clock midnight to 6 morning. You could see 20% is the load, 11% is load between 6 to 9, 38% load is solar hours between 9 to 17, and evening peak hours 17 to 24 is around 30% load. So this is the typical consumption of a utility if you look at it from the million unit sale point of view. And if you compare that with, how the EV is being used or the electric vehicles are getting charged, you could see that, between night time, almost 0.54% of the consumption is happening. If you consider around 1.5% of the total consumption, the major chunk of the units being consumed by the electric vehicle is during the night time. During evening peak time is around 0.4%. It's just less than the night time. And in the rest of the hours, that is the solar hours between 9 to 17, 0.26%, and 0.13% is between morning 6 to 9. And the challenge of the typical utility is whenever during the solar hours, say between 9 to 17, we have a lot of energy available, excess energy available. Many times utilities are doing the distress sale during that time. We wish, during that time, the electric vehicles should be charged continuously, also ensuring that the charging of the electric vehicle will continue to happen during the night time. But during the evening peak time can be shifted to the solar hours, or say the morning peak time also can be shifted, say after 9 hours to 17 hours. So this is something, that we will study the consumption patterns of the electric vehicles, consumption patterns of typically of the bus chargers, because they are the major chunk and the major consumption is happening from the bus chargers. So these are the challenges, and how we are planning to do or how we are doing that, I will discuss in subsequent slide. Next slide. So these are typically, if you see the behavior based segmentation of the EV charging load. If you look at the home chargers, these are typically between 3 to 7 kilowatt, and they use between 2 to 4 hours daily. This is in numbers they are very high, not impacting much on the load curve of the distribution utility. Bus and the fleet, these are the two things which impact, and the consumption is very high. They use the highest bigger chargers of 120 to 240 kilowatt capacity, and they are very regular. They either charge full during the night time and they top up during the afternoon time. After morning hours, the bus shifts and all, and their usage of the duration is also 6 to 8 hours. So this is the area where, obviously, how win-win situation for the utility as well as the charging can be taken care of. Also ensuring, the cost required for the charging of, the bus and the fleet can how be optimized through the time and detail. The public, come to the previous slide. The public and semi-public, they use between 30 to 120 kilowatt, especially they are either on the commercial premises or on the roads. They are event driven, they are short but the high power. There also the time of day, as well as giving the incentive to the consumers to how they can manage during the load curve whenever the power availability there from the utility side should be ensured. Next slide. So we have done a detailed study, and this graph is visible. You can see that a typical HT bus they go, what was the average load, and you will also see that how was the load curve during that time, and this the thermal graph also indicates that during what time the buses are generally getting charged, and you could see that around 17 to 24 hours during the peak time, around 30% load is there. Between 9 to 17, only 31% of the load is there. Morning time, 6 to 9, and 4% load, because most of the buses are getting charged during the night time, which is very good thing. and 34% is being charged during the night hours. So the challenge here is that the top up which is happening during the peak time, which can be also shifted or can be optimized. So the demand pattern of HPE charging bus depot shows characteristics dip between 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. as the buses depart from the depot for the daily operation, and they are consuming during the night time to get the full advantage of the TOD, as well as it is convenient for the bus depot to keep buses readily available with full charge between 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. And afternoon top-up cycle, which is a very small one, between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. So around 34% of the consumption during the night time is good, but 30% coinciding with the evening peak is the challenge, where the distribution utilities and the fleet chargers can work together to shift that in the interest of both the companies. Next slide. This is LTEV average load. You could see that the consumption pattern of this typical segment is little different than what the bus segment is. Here you could see that the LTEV and the public and the captive charging system, 44% of the charging is happening during the peak hour, because most of the time during evening time when people reach home, they generally charge that, and during night time it is 27% is the less. So the behavior of the charging of the LTEV is also need to be changed to get the best of the benefit to the utility, and also that passing on that benefits to the consumer. So the demand pattern of LTEV, the charging station indicates during the more consumption during the peak time. Anyway, the impact is not much, but still, if you do the behavioral studies that need to be shifted to take care of the distribution utility requirement, as well as maximizing the consumption during the solar hours. If we could give the best of the facilities, to the customers, and availability of the chargers at their backyard. You could see this is the picture as I was indicating that the managing EV charging under the demand side management program being approved by MERC. So we are pushing more than 10,000 chargers all across the Mumbai, and we are empowering consumer by installing semi-public infrastructure at the consumer doorstep. In every housing society, we are providing them. We are also smartly managing the electric vehicle chargers. This is something being done at the free of cost and installation. They are getting the best of the EV tariffs, and these chargers are exclusively programmed to operate during the off-peak time or operate during the time when the utility has sufficient power to be used. So to coincide with the load curve of the utility, in the interest of the utility, to ensure the demand side management of the utility, the chargers is being used and being received very well by the different societies, and we have big numbers of the chargers are coming in a big way all across the nation. If you look at how we can emphasize the electric vehicle charging as the flexible demand, so the subject is V2G, but before that, if we could manage or we can do the demand side management or a demand response program with the electric vehicle by the two ways, either by demand curtailment or by demand increment. So obviously, as a utility, when we look at it at a load during the morning time when the solar hours are there, I have ample power available. Many times demand is less and the supply is more. At that time, many times I am forced to do the the distress sale. At that time, I wish EV charger should take more load, and I generally plan to have the demand increment. So the EV charging during the surplus solar hours between 9 to 17 hours, even by providing the incentive, will definitely very useful. From the utility point of view as well as from the customer point of view. At the same time, demand curtailment. For example, during the peak time, when the utilities are purchasing power at a very high price of 10 rupees or 12 rupees, at that time, if I could curtail certain demand, in coordination with the customer, for example, the buses are getting charged with the double gun, instead they should charge the single gun, or they should manage their schedule in a way that they will charge during the solar hours and all. This will be really helpful. And either aggregator or a utility will act like an aggregator, where all the vehicle state of charge is also being monitored, the time of day is also being monitored, and accordingly through the app, we can ask, the EV chargers to charge them during the time where they will get the maximized incentive, best of the benefit of the time of day. And this will also be helpful to the utility to manage their power purchase cost by shifting them during, the surplus hours and avoiding them to charge during the peak hours. So this is something emphasizing electric vehicle charging as a flexible demand, and the due coordination with the customers, especially the big customers, the fleet chargers and the bus chargers, will be very effective. We have done some initiative on that, and I will share that how we are closely working with the fleet operators, and also we are suggesting the bus operator to manage their demand accordingly. Right? So this is, a demand increment, as I mentioned, demand curtailment and demand increment. This is where we are, communicating to the customers that if they can charge their vehicles during, the solar hours, the benefit to the, the discount is obviously avoiding loss due to the distress sale and reduces the peak power purchase cost by shifting the EV load. And obviously benefit to the consumer is that they will get the rewards and incentive, as well as they will get the best of the TOD rebate and electricity bills and all. Only it's a matter that, we have done a demand response program. So we are also doing this program where these customers are, connected with us, and we are communicating them to change the behaviors and the charging patterns. So this is also a win-win situation to how to manage the load curve and how to manage, the electricity bill, or through the changing behaviors and consumption pattern of the different segments during the different times of the load curve of the day of the charging. Next slide. This is a program which we have implemented, and this is the demand flexibility program where we have asked consumers to be part of, to communicate the demand flexibility requirement and, broadcast to the EV users, because the EV users are using, our mobile app. So their numbers are with us, capture their information, ask them to use during the solar hours maximum, providing them, the chargers available. For example, the big customers are, the fast chargers are required by certain banks and all. And we have asked them that whenever you come to the office, you can keep the vehicle charging.
Mr. Khan, we are running short of time, so make it faster.
2 slides only. Yeah, we can quickly cover. So this is the schedule in which we are.
Please unmute, Mr. Dr. Kane, please unmute.
And double gun. So the grid charging station monitoring and appropriately giving information to them to consume less during the peak time and consume more during, the off-peak time. So this is also AEV and using them as a flexible load. Next slide. So this is vehicle to grid. There are 2 stages rather. Vehicle to grid is not direct, because right now the electric vehicles available across the India are not compatible for vehicle to grid. But many vehicles, vehicles are suitable for vehicle to load. Go to the slide. So vehicle to load is something compatible, and the pilots have already been done with the Tata Nexon. Tata Nexon is vehicle to load, but to vehicle to grid, the 2 important part is one is the bidirectional charger, and as well as the BMPU, that is a bidirectional modular power unit. We have done some pilots, and we are pushing that we have more than 100 Nexons we have as a fleet, and we are trying to use them as a load. How we can use during the peak time as a vehicle to load first, and then over a period of time to vehicle to grid. So this is typically next one. So this is typically we are trying to have 20-25 vehicles from the EV fleet with a 40 kilowatt battery, and try to have around 1.1 megawatt of load, which we can use during the hours where it is really required, and try to use that for the load shifting and as well as during the peak load management by using vehicles as a load as well as as a generator during the time. So this is something we are trying by. Hopefully there is a huge demand in time to come for the peak load management and management of the load curve of the utility. And these are a few conclusions. The EVs, reshaping the distribution and load profiles. This is an opportunity for the distribution company. This will be the batteries being used in the vehicles are used as a battery storage. V2G holds future potential for balancing, and utilities will play a very important role as an aggregator also. The number of vehicles are registered and being used as the load as well as consumers. And V2G will definitely transform in time to come in the benefit of the grid as well as for the utilities and the consumers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kane. It was an excellent presentation. Your presentation comes out clearly. It is going to have a very good impact on the load pattern of the DISCOM. At the same time, you have given that there is a flexible demand. It will help us managing the demand, especially night hours. Thank you very much. Subir, Mr. Abhishek has not joined yet, no? Okay, then what we say, we are moving toward the session 2 because we are running short of time. Sir, the session 2 basically focuses on the automation and artificial intelligence in load forecasting, demand response, and network maintenance. For presentation 1 of this session, I invite Sri Pawan Vishwakarma, co-founder TriGap Solutions. Mr. Vishwakarma is an expert in smart grids, AI, ML-based utility, digitalization, and cybersecurity. He has held senior leadership and advisory roles with organizations such as Wipro, OSI, Siemens, Schneider Electric, and GE. And today he is going to speak on application of AI in load forecasting and demand response. Mr. Pawan Vishwakarma, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And very, very good afternoon to every respected member, and very, very senior members are here. So I can say that yes, I'm a privilege to present in front of you all. So basically, so before, sir, I share my presentation. I think I will just recap what respected RB Sahi sir has told. So basically, the biggest challenge today in the distribution utilities. So see, generation was very much visible, transmission was very much visible in terms of that data and monitoring, control, everything. But the distribution was very less visible. And as sir has very rightly reminded that earlier the computers were used for detecting the anomaly to go and find out. But thanks to our GPUs, TPUs, and cloud computing and artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms, which today having a lot of computing capacity so that those anomalies can be detected. And to be very honest, earlier we were only reactive and preventive. Sometimes we were proactive, but thanks to AI and ML, now we are going to become a predictive. So that is the best part, which is going to help our distribution utilities when we will be predictive. So I will be going and I will be touching a different things. So as basically that we were acquiring too much data. Earlier also we acquired a lot of data, but those data we were not able to ingest properly, normalize properly, utilize properly, and do a prediction with that. So I will just touch up a few challenges of the distribution utilities right now, then how the emerging technologies are going to address those challenges, and what are the gaps are still available there. And then one more part I will touch, sir, for electricity theft, which you have very rightly touched, RB Sai sir. And I cannot say that yes, totally this technology is going to address the complete issue, but we will very close to those things which you have touched, like that at least we need to be a little more predictive, more aware, and a decision making in a decision making capacity, so that we can take early actions. So I'm sharing my presentation, sir. Please bear with me. Yeah.
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah. So I will just touch, because I will do little reverse engineering, sir. So because here in this forum, everyone is very much aware about all the challenges, all the problems, all the practices, everything. So I will do little bit reverse engineering here. I will start from the right hand side and we will move to left hand side. And because I am not touching left hand side, because everyone is very much conversant with that. So I have just listed down few emerging technologies here, like for examples in the next subsequent slide that you will certainly know, and everyone is, nowadays hearing a lot about AI, blockchain, digital twins, edge computing, cyber security, blah, 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 XYZ. So here, one by one, I will uncover that how it is, helping, how it is going to help our problems, like as far as distribution utility is concerned. So I've just written what is our objective. We will explore how emerging digital technologies are transforming electrical distribution system and utility business models, which all technologies are covered, like artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, digital twins, IoT, Internet on Things, edge computing, and advanced analytics. Then what will be our focus in this presentation? The focus area will be technological integration with power distribution networks and resulting innovation in the grid operation and commercial structure. Audience, I'm not going to touch. I think we are here in this forum, it's a mix of audience, so I'm leaving. What is our motivation today here? Why we need to transform our electrical distribution with emerging technologies? Because RB Sai sir has already, and IS Jha sir has already addressed that, yes, we have a problems and we will have a problems. It is not like that n number of technologies we will bring and it will not, we will be, come up with the zero problems. It is not like that. We will solve few problems, few more will come, but at the end of the day, that how we are going to, improve our operational efficiency, resiliency, and sustainability. We all know that the biggest energy challenge is that, cheap energy equity, all these things, zero carbon, uh, voltage, uh, stability and all that I'm not going to touch. I will only touch this point, that how these newest technologies are quickly solving the problems, and which is, making giving us extended capacity or a brain to, rectify those problems as quick as possible. So grid complexity and load growth. Why we are talking at the grid complexity? Because today we know that we are in a mixed energy mode, and in a bidirectional mode. Earlier we were unidirectional. So earlier we were only consumers, now prosumers as well. So it means that the grid is becoming day by day complex. And once the grid is complex, then we need to have a technologies which are very, very much efficient to solve or resolve the complexity as quick as possible. So Kane sir has already touched a lot of rising demand for EVs. We are in urbanization, so our load growths are totally abruptly increasing everywhere in a centralized manner. DRs, I think sir has already touched the DRs, that yes, we are in different set of DRs, not only homogeneous, it is heterogeneous. So all these, and along with that, we know that our electrical infrastructure is also aging, so a lot of strains are there, because yes, few places we are going with the newest infrastructure, but we need to accommodate and cope with the old aged infrastructure as well, which are little less available to participate in the newest platform where we are trying to resolve things accordingly. Decentralized and DAR, everybody knows that, so I'm not touching it. Balancing also, Kane Saab has touched. Bidirectional power flows we have discussed. Dynamic load, we know all these things. Reliability, resilience, challenges, all these things I have just captured, just to remind each and everyone. So after these, the fourth quadrant is need for the real-time intelligence. The most important thing is that, sir, like earlier, what everybody was knowing, that we were not able to capture data in real time. but thanks to the technology and telecommunication systems, which sir has very rightly said, that with the help of that, we have at least achieved that the real-time monitoring. But we have seen that the real-time monitoring was not helping us in the lot to get rid of all these problems. So that's why the real-time intelligence has come up in terms of AI and ML, which today is helping not only in electrical utilities, not only in generation, transmission, energy, even everywhere. AI and ML is resolving the problems which was complex, which was not as easy to be resolved by a simple human brain. So components, I will skip these components because I know everyone is knowing the components, so there is no point to discuss the components in details, because we all are familiar with our components, structures, and platforms. So here I would like to start that how we can enhance our grid intelligence and our operational efficiency. This is the question comes to everyone's mind, that every time, if today's we have improved our efficiency up to 90%, 95%, tomorrow naturally it will come to our mind that how we can improve little more, and we have to reach close to the 100%. This is what it's a general phenomena, and it comes, and it is obvious as well. So earlier, as I told you, that the grid were totally traditional, then the grid becomes monitored and controlled. But now today we can say that our grid is little intelligent, as thanks to the AI ML algorithm technologies and models. So I will touch the predictive maintenance. As I told that today is that the maintenance we were doing always in the reactive mode or
এটা একটা ওই পবন বিশ্বকর্মা ভাষণ দিতেছে যা আদের সমাজ থেকে কামের মতো কাম চাইছে আমি তো এই করছিলাম না
I think I think
এটা তো অবশ্যই
Please
বুঝলেন
unmute.
ওই কথা বলুন
Uttam Barman, please unmute yourself. Yeah, please
Yeah.
carry on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So the AI models are right now analyzing the sensors data and storing the historical data and predicting equipment failures like that. Earlier, what was happened that there was a different format of the data was coming from the different devices, and a lot of protocol translations was required, a lot of data conversion was required. But let me tell you that thanks to the AI model today which is available, lot of even open source models are available in the market, which are doing the data normalizations in the desired format. Means left hand side whatever your format, right hand side you will get in your desired format. So, and with the quick computing, so that is actually helping us to resolve our problems. The historical data, we were knowing that if 5 years 10 years data to analyze and to retrieve the archive data, the machines were not that much capable, the computing power was very less. But today, thanks to the graphene technology, and even in the next few years we'll have the quantum computing capability available. So in that case, that we all know that how we need to be predictive. It means that we need to analyze our past things as quick as possible, and also along with that the real time data which is getting captured on the real time basis needs to be analyzed together with the historical data. And based on that, there are a lot of models today has been made by different scientists. If you go to the website, you will find that TensorFlow, PyTorch, many models are already available, which many of the companies have started using it as a used case, as a a proof of concept, and that we are doing right now. Myself, I am involved in HBPNL for providing the transformer health index along with the predictive aspects. In Maharashtra Electricity, means MSCTCL as well, they are also doing the asset health analytics. So over there we are working on the predictive maintenance. We are using few of the models which are already available in the market, and few models are already based on the inputs coming from the users. We are utilizing it to train those models and reap the informations in near future, because when we started feeding the data from today, at least it will take a year or 2 years to at least have the significant data so that it can utilize those model and predict the aspects in near future. In the similar fashion, the load forecasting. So machine learning algorithms are being used for forecast the energy demand with the temporal and spatial resolution. In my consecutive slides, I will show that which all models are right now being used for load forecasting, and I have already taken one use case as well, just in a simple way to explain the audience, not in the complex way. Third one, the anomaly detection, which sir was talking in starting, that if today's, if anybody can detect the anomaly as quick as possible, and based on that detection the action is associated with that, then only it will help to figure out the solution with the problem. So the real-time analytics detections with their irregular patterns in the faults in voltage, frequency, everything, power quality is right now available, which is already in the use case. Few countries are already utilizing those things as far as anomaly detection is concerned. Grid optimization, yes, for grid optimization, that AI automates the voltage regulation, switching and load balancing decisions, improving efficiency and reliability. That's why with the today's very soon you will see that even a SCADA operator means I'm saying SCADA operator will be a AI and ML based operator. There's no required to have a human being sitting there and do the operations. So those things are also going to come in near future. I think it is not very far. Very soon it will be available with everyone. So digital twin. Everyone might be hearing about digital twin. So the digital twin is really a very, very good technologies which is going to help us in near future to improve our efficiency and optimization. So we started calling it that now we are going to virtualize the grid assets for real-time simulation and optimization. It means that you can do the real-time grid modeling, and you can simulate the asset performance as a digital twin. So it means that if you want to load a transformer, if you want to load for a few seconds or for a more time and all, so you need not to do the risk on that. Before that you can simulate all these things in your computer, and based on the results you can go back to the field and start deploying those things. So this is what I have captured, like the real-time visualization, the predictive simulations, and the lifecycle asset management. So this is what all are right now available, not in the scaled way, but yes, somewhere it is a proof of concept, somewhere it is getting utilized by the utility just as a R&D purpose. But very soon the commercial products will be available in the market. And for digital twin, few of the things are already available. Yes, the second technologies, which is a blockchain, and the blockchain technologies, we all are hearing about peer-to-peer, energy trading. But how the peer-to-peer energy trading will help us, and which technologies will be, required for us to, make it more useful for us. So that this is what every energy professionals are right now talking about, how we can deploy this blockchain in electrical distribution, so that we should have the peer-to-peer energy trading aspects available like that. So, and secure transaction ledger, grid data integrity, smart contract for automation, all these things are required in near future to have it in that way, so that the transparency needs to be there, and also the consumers will become more attractive with once the peer-to-peer energy trading will come. That's why the power portability, when everyone was talking about the power portability, we were thinking like that, how it is possible, because in mobile that the number portability is possible, but in power. But thanks to, as Kane sir is also here in Mumbai and few places, that today we are available with that. So it means that yes, the technologies are enablers for us to think beyond the boundary. Before this slide, I will move to one of the most important thing which I wanted to explain it here. As we have told, that we are interested to listen about that, how we are going to become reactive, from reactive to predictive. So this example is for AI driven load forecasting. So it is a multi-horizon forecasting architecture. There is a one architecture. After this slide, I think it will be difficult for me to explain, but I have captured, maybe I will little zoom it, so explain to you. But you can see that the AI models operate simultaneously at 3 time horizons, like for example, short term, medium term, and long term. So the short term will be for 15 minutes to 48 hours. Medium term will be for weeks to months. Long term will be for years. The models are LSTM, GRU, XGBoost, RF, Scenario AI. These I'm not going to discuss right now here because we have a limited time. But these are the AI and ML model which are being widely used by everyone to do load forecasting, even by researchers, by companies, and right now as for a proof of concept as well. So I have captured what are the operational use of that, with which model type, what are the operational use, and how all these things. So for long term, as you can see that there is one model called Scenario AI. So this Scenario AI is such a beautiful model which is helping today us to completely plan the capex. So it means that today we are trying to plan for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. This model will have all the scenarios. You just need to feed the data and it will create a complete best possible scenarios in different contingency, and it can give you the clear idea that how you can plan your capex. Thanks to our ancestors, that I'm not telling that the capex was not planned properly when AI and ML model was not available, but this is reducing time because we know that the capex planning is the time taking task, and there are many errors which is possible to be taken into the consideration. But these all, once your model is trained, that I think I can tell that with the responsibility that the 90% capex planning will certainly happen with this tool. So if you see that just below my table, I have just captured how AI forecast load, technical mechanism, how the load T-1, T-2, up to T-n, temperature, humidity, heat index, day type like weekday, weekly, holiday, what are the consumer category weights. This also the another models creates the category weights. Then what is the EV charging pattern, what is the solar generation forecast, all these data we take into the consideration, and then we create these data will be consumed by the model, and the model will get trained on that, and based on the model and artificial intelligence mechanism, it will give the operational impact result. So that's why I have told you that instead a peak may occur tomorrow evening, AI will says that there is a 90% probability that feeder F ... will exceed 95% of thermal limit between this time to this time. And in transmission as well, I will touch this point. We were knowing that for the dynamic line rating, earlier we were using a lot of sensors to provide the data that yes, for this much time or for this much window we can load the line. But today, with the help of AI and ML, there are a solution available which is totally sensor less dynamic line rating, which is available in the market, and commercially people are utilizing it. So this is what, sir, I would like to show you. This is the architecture I have workflow I have captured, but I think it is very small, and it is not very much visible to me as well. Maybe after this call, or if anybody is interested, then I can certainly share my documents with everyone so that you can zoom at your end and see it. So the first block is for the data collection. The second orange block is for the forecasting, and the green for the demand response, and the purple one was of the output, how it is going to help us. So that is why I have captured that the below is the load forecasting and demand response architecture, and I think it can be shared from my side, and everybody can have a look into that. And if any suggestions is there, please let me know so that we can utilize those suggestions and train our model properly so that we can get a better output with that. So I'm going back to my another slide. So I will touch the business model because as this forum is for the business model, how the business model is going to be in the electrical distribution. So everyone, we all knows that we are innovating a solution for the revenue collections, services, and market participation. So the one of the most important thing which is going to be in place is energy as a service. Means utilities will offer a bundled services including energy supply, monitoring, optimization, and their management under the subscription model. So that is going to attract a consumer or detract, but yes, the literate consumers are very much happy with that, because few places that it has been already in place, and uh, uh, the output of the satisfaction level and motivational level has been captured. Anybody can go on the website and look and research for that how it is helping the consumers in the different way. And then P2P markets, for sure, consumers and prosumers trade electricity directly on decentralized platform with the blockchain and smart meters. Platform business model, grid operators evolve into platforms enabling third-party service like EV charging, VPPs, and demand-side flexibility. Kane sir has already touched the flexibility of the demand side, but I have only captured that what all are the business model which is going to take place in near future. Dynamic pricing and transactive energies, like a real-time price signals, optimize consumption and production decision among distributed grid participants. So what are the tech-enabled grid services? Means which are empowering grid flexibility, resilience, and the new value streams. That is the VPPs, aggregated DERs coordinated through software platforms, grid balancing, demand response, smart metering, ancillary, all these things. But to be very honest, all these things are quite possible right now thanks to the communication technologies. The communication infrastructure is required to be robust. That's why, because in distribution, what we are finding, um, uh, even I have been involved in doing an audit of the 12 pilot projects with Ministry of Power. And that time I found that one of the major problem and the biggest problem was the communication infrastructure. Because whatever I have talked till now is immaterial if our communication infrastructure is not robust. The left hand side will never marry with right hand side until unless our communication infrastructure is flexible. And we all know that we are totally bank on the information technology innovation and enhancement, communication technology innovation and enhancement, because all these things which I have talked till now are very, very dynamic. Because the moment every day in information and communication, a lot of innovation, lot of disruption is happening. So we need to cope up with that, and we need to be very fast, because then only we will reap the proper benefit of that. That's why wherever I am doing a consulting or wherever I am discussing, the very first important thing I told, that the communication infrastructure. Because if the moment we'll talk like smart, I am speaking, nobody is listening, it is immaterial. So if the devices are able to omit the data, and the another side the devices are ready to receive those data, but in between, if the media, which is a communication infrastructure, is not a next gen technologies infrastructure, then it will never ever give a full yield of that. So this I am trying to tell everyone. That's why in distribution utilities, the very first important thing for transmission, thanks to OPGW, thanks to a lot of different technologies, at least all the substations are totally connected with each other.
Mr. Biskarma, we are running out of time. Just please.
Yeah, sir. But just last slide. Maybe I will touch about cyber security risk. All these things what I have talked, it is requiring a robust zero trust architecture, so that we should be confident that we are not attacked or our data is not leaked. I think, sir, I'll take a permission, because then after that, maybe in next session, I may be a more descriptive and more, explanatory as far as these technologies are concerned. Thanks everyone for your
Thank
time
you.
and patience for listening me, sir.
Thank you, Mr. It was so interesting. Time is the short, otherwise, it was very clear, insightful presentation. Of course, there are so many questions are coming in the mind that how AI will be successful if data is not good, how to maintain the data by utility. These are the things we'll discuss if we have the time. Other will be in touch with you. Sir, now we are going to the Mr. Abhishek Ranjan has joined, going to the presentation one of session one. Mr. Abhishek Ranjan is the Chief Executive Officer of BRPL Delhi. He has been playing a key role in advancing initiatives related to renewable demand side management, power management, and sustainability. Under his leadership, BRPL has made significant progress in improving services delivery and stakeholder engagement. He is going to speak on the role of DISCOMs in enabling and managing increasing renewables, DERs, and energy storage system. Mr. Ranjan, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Hope I am clearly visible and audible, please. Let me
Yeah.
share. Yes, sir.
You are
Thank you.
completely.
Let me share my screen. So kindly let me know if my screen is visible.
Yeah, it is visible. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Sir, this is a brief about what we have gone through in the last over 23 years now. And of course, one of the important landmarks had been the loss reduction part. But then over the period of years, infusion of technology also has happened, which is enabled us to be what we are today. And I'll be speaking more on these technologies if my cursor is visible today, like EV charging, which is managed EV charging, then demand flexibility side, digital twin AR, VR, as well as microgrid, battery energy storage. Basically, all the DERs and DERMS basically, and DSO, so distributed system operator, the business model. I'll also very briefly, touch upon the peer-to-peer, which is a new emerging business model, which is a very high-profile thing which has come up. It is an extension of GNM and VNM as we know in some of the states, including Delhi as well, which is group net metering and virtual net metering in Delhi. So capabilities of any future ready distribution utility are pretty much defined. And if we want to know, there are several pillars on which a utility functions, distribution utility functions today. So if I talk about them, so for example, customer operation and experience, then we have field service, we have complete network and network operation, and associated with that is work and asset management, which is health management of it, meter operation and Internet of Things, and finally the project management. That means the new capex project that are being undertaken to modernize the grid. Now these are some of the applications which are there, and the platforms which are there are defined like these: integrated data management, security layer, app development, compute, storage and networking part of it. On top of it sits the business intelligence and the data analytics. So in our country or in anywhere, the distribution utilities have various different functions and various different IT systems: SCADA, SAP, GIS, ADMS, then smart metering, AMR, asset management, network operation. So IOMS. So these softwares are standalone, and many of these distribution utilities, these are not even talking to each other. So there is a disparity in terms of how the data is being shared. I'll talk about that also, what is now being done to ensure that there is a seamless sharing of the data within the DISCOM and across the DISCOM, which is very, very important now for new business emerging models like interstate peer-to-peer energy trading. I'll talk about that just to emphasize the fact that in a distribution utility, the customer and the network are very much linked with each other. That means they are the two sides of the same coin, which is distribution utility. Here I have tried to explain through, like for example, if there is a customer owning an electric vehicles and they have to identify EV charging, whether it is not being done by the customer or not, the DISCOMs. So the DISCOM has a software which verifies that the DER resource, which is the EV charging, is there inside the customer's premises. And then it engages the electric vehicle owner by offering them the targeted rates. And then the target owners for the energy program is being devised. And this is possible how? Because there is an automation of the network monitoring. Now, once this is done, the DER profiling and forecasting is done, which helps in localized network management at the area LDC level, for which the digital twin is very much required. And once that is settled, there is a dispatch demand response program, which tells the EV to charge or not to charge, or even V2G, which is inject inside the grid. And finally, the home energy audit happens, and basis which the home energy services and reports are delivered to the customer. So in this way, we see the customers are being given a smart EV charging as a service, while this is also helping the DISCOM in maintaining and managing the local network, and while the customer is getting the served. So this is the future of utility, where, and this I'm talking about only the managed EV charging services. There could be many other distributed energy resource services which can be offered. Peer-to-peer is one of them, and solar plus battery energy storage distributed way at each of the home behind the meter is another. So this is an illustrative digital journey of a distribution company. So there are 5 distinct pillars on which a distribution utility today in India is based. One is the asset operations, then the network operations, device operations, customer operations, and the customer experience. As we know, the climate change and major weather events are having a very important role to play. The way we consume power, the demand, as well as the generation of the renewable energy, distributed renewable energy in terms of rooftop solar as well, which is important to plan our network. So distribution resource planning, which is an integrated resource plan. So in the years to come, we are integrated, or the distribution utilities are meant to integrate more and more renewable, which is utility scale, as well as distributed energy resources embedded within the DISCOM. They are also responsible to deal with the aging infra and improve the asset performance and the reliability. And distributed intelligence is drawn through artificial intelligence, machine learning algorithm, or augmented reality, and the drone-based predictive asset maintenance. For this, the digital twin, the low-cost sensors and Internet of Things devices are, and I'll show you example also what we have done in Janakpuri, and we are expanding that. In the DT, that is distribution transformer, and below, that is the low tension side, which is able to give you a real-time view as well as planned view of what is happening there. Otherwise, we are blind to it, and we are mostly based upon the insights given by the linemen in the area. Transportation is getting electrified, and this is piggyback on existing load profile. Therefore, there is a need for managing the transportation electrification in terms of charging through non-commercial means as well as commercial means, including EV-based time of use rate. Then the flexibility is also being coming from distributed, that is behind the meter. So appliances, smart home, smart buildings, smart communities altogether. These are essential to impart the flexibility to the grid, to the distribution utility, and this becomes a part of the grid plan. Of course, with all these intelligent and smart things, cyber security becomes a very, very important feature of the way we work and way we operate. Finally, this stops the flexibility aspects. When I say retail markets, which is, as we know, one is IEX, PXIL, or maybe HPX, which is wholesale market in our country. Now we are moving towards more of a retail market. My previous colleague was talking about peer-to-peer trading. It is more on the basis of, there are two models to it. One is ONDC, which is one-to-one. Like, for example, there is a seller, there is a buyer, they agree to a price, they quote a price and the buyer agrees to the price and they settle. So in a same time block, there could be millions of prices being discovered depending upon the number of sellers and the buyers. And this could be within the DISCOM, outside the DISCOM, inter-DISCOM, prosumer and consumer pair could be existing. Now, to establish the traceability, one of the technologies being used is blockchain. There are other technologies now. One of them is these are all open source technologies which are being piloted. So as a part of the India Energy Stack pilot, these peer-to-peer tradings are going to be displayed in a short while. Now, the business model of the current DISCOM is expected to be disrupted, and it is expected that the current DISCOM is expected to become a distributed or distribution system operator. This is an image which I have taken from IIT Delhi and other authored report on roadmap to a DSO under the UISS project. It says that the DSO is managing all these actors, prosumers, transmission system operator, which is the, like in our case, it is Grid India, then distributed solar PV, electric vehicles, storage, demand aggregators, traders, then the markets, which are retail market or embedded markets. And this is how the entire demand side is getting rationalized. Now, to get a more deep view into it, if you see here, this is a one-side view. So from transmission to distribution to the consumer. Here the DISCOM is doing what? They are connecting and disconnecting the distributed energy resources, planning, maintenance and management of the network, supply outages management, energy billing. But here the additional role which is coming, and why it is coming, because now it is a two-way power flow or multi-way power flow. So within the distribution utility, there are multiple consumers with the distributed energy resources, which are these, which I also named in the previous slide. Now they are going to talk to the DSO, other DRs, and DSO to TSO. And not only this, but these consumers can talk to the other embedded customers of other DSO as well. So for example, in Delhi, a solar power producer or a rooftop solar generator would sell the power to somebody in Mumbai or Chennai and vice versa and interact with them. So this is how it is happening. So what is the emerging additional roles of a DSO where we are moving towards? Peak load management through the distributed energy resources, network congestion management, local ones. I'm talking about 11 kV and below. Reactive power supply support, that is an ancillary service. Procure voltage support, which is again a ancillary service at the local level. Technical validation of the local energy market or the power market. So for example, whether there is a congestion, injection of the power can happen from the DR, yes or no. So this is the way where we are also moving towards the concept of a DMO or a distributed market operator. Other than a wholesale market operator, there is a distributed market operator, which could be a subset of the role of a DSO. This is what I was talking about. So this is a 11 kV feeder, and these are some of the loads which are there. This is a DT, 2, 3 examples. These are all different DERs. So for example, you have solar PV, then batteries, then smart loads these are batteries, these are smart factories and smart loads, rooftop solar here, EVs here, charging. So what is being done by the DSO is to monitor and forecast the DERs and give the dispatch command to manage the storage or cause the storage to discharge and provide relief to this. For this, digital twin is very much required for the low tension. This is on this side of the distribution transformers. I'll talk about the digital twin in the later slides. So this is where we are now going towards in our case. So the distribution system operator, which one to go and how to go, is to be defined by these different parameters, and this is how it is going to happen. Now, technology journey I had shown in our terms. For example, we are digital twin of LV network is already there in terms of small section. Now we are expanding this. Apart from this, the AI/ML based processes, predictive asset health maintenance based on AI/ML, energy storage, vehicle to grid, these are all part of our systems now. Peer-to-peer energy markets is where in the virtual power plant, which is a community of disparate and disaggregate rooftop solar and EV charging within the distribution system, is the thing to go, way to go in the next 2 to 3 years. So the evolution in the power grid in the distribution system is happening like this. The renewables at bulk grid, which are utility scale, which is happening, and then within the distribution also there are various technologies which are evolving. Solar, storage, electric vehicles, these are the main three which are impacting the distribution feeders actually. So when we do the modeling, you do a baseline plus solar plus EV plus BESS, and this is how you do the scenario analysis using softwares. Like CA has given a software called Stellar, and other softwares are Texos, for example. So these are being used for modeling the whole system in 96 time blocks per day and 365 days for maybe 10 years, long-term planning. So that is very, very important when you model all the DERs within. So that is distribution resource planning, that is network modeling plus power content, both together. Electric vehicles, solar PV, battery storage, demand response as the key distributed energy resources. I will be talking very briefly on this. This is a journey where solar and EV.
Mr. Jan, we are running
Yes,
out of time. Please close the thing and just go to the summary type of things.
right, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Do I have 5 minutes, sir?
Yeah, better in 1-2 minutes to do it.
1 or 2 minutes, fine, sir. Right. So battery energy storage is one of the technologies where we talk about, and this is one of the storage services which is already present. This is a glimpse of it. And battery energy storage as a bedrock of network is very, very important, now becoming an important part of the network planning within the distribution at various voltage levels. These are some of the slides I'll just skip, just to give you a summary of where the battery storage is. So right from the bottom till the top, where the battery storage plays a very, very important role. And we are installing at these two places, I mean, in any distribution utility, which then is the backbone of the distribution network. This is one summary about it. The second is the EVs actually are playing a very, very important role, but then e-bus and managed EV charging with the club of the storage is also very important as a part of the distribution grid planning. Vehicle to grid is the technology which is now going to shape up the Indian EV scenario. Right now it is in a very infancy phase. Demand flexibility actually is very, very important in terms of from EHV to LT. If you are having more flexibility at the LT level, then the EHV level, you don't need to add much of the thermal upgrade. Here is an example of planning a grid using demand flexibility, initiative, storage, line, thermal upgrades, a mix of it. This is a live example. These are 220 kV substations, Papankala 1, 2, 3, and then 66/11 and the DTs. Demand response is again a very, very important as a part of the grid operations, right? So it's no longer a choice to have lowering of your cost. These are the demand response pilot programs. I'll just skip, and these are all doable. Microgrid within the grid is also very, very important now, which are having maybe solar, BESS, and load all together. This is an example which is already there. P2P, I was talking about it. The platform is already under development. And as I said, as a part of the IES, this is going to be, I'll close with the digital twin, which is a model of the low tension network which is helping us in proactive planning, renewable adoption at the distributed level. Response time is faster now for outage detection and resolution, and this is how it is being planned and implemented. Sensors are there in the LV side of it. Modernization is very, very important, and these are the mobile applications being used by the linemen to detect and restore and map the LT assets on the digital twin. And this is a load flow AI enabled, just like Chat GPT, AI chat for the digital twin. These are all the part of the thing. So I think I'll close here, sir, and thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Ranjan. It is a fantastic presentation for sharing BRPL's experience and practical insights. A lot of things are there, but we have the sort of time. Of course, we'll have the time, some few questions will come up. Now we are coming to the last presentation to Mr. Bapuraj Tilekar. He is the head business technology, Adani Energy Solution Limited. Actually, he is leading technology implementation for transmission and distribution business in Adani Energy Solution Limited, and is responsible for driving digital transformation and adoption of advanced technology across the organization. Today, he will speak on use of robotics and drone coupled with AI for distribution network maintenance. Mr. Babu Rao.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yeah, go ahead.
So just let me share my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So good evening and thank you. I would like to thank IEF for inviting me today as a speaker for this webinar. Today I am here to present the use of robotics, drones coupled with AI.
It would have been better, sir, if you show in the slideshow mode.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Is it visible now?
Right.
Okay. So just brief about my organization. So we have a presence in transmission, distribution, smart metering, and cooling solution business. We have around 28% market share in transmission business for the TBCB projects. Just let me take the pointer. We have a electricity distribution business at Mumbai, where we are catering around 3.2 million consumers, and we have also a small electricity distribution company at Mundra. We have around 17% market share as a AMI SP in smart metering, and we are also offering the cooling solutions as well as the cooling as a service as well as the energy solutions for few C&I consumers in India. So if you look at our transmission assets, they are spread across 16 states. So we have already commissioned around 20,000 circuit kilometer of transmission lines, and around 7,000 circuit kilometer is in the pipeline. So total comprising capacity is around 93,000 MVA. As I said, we have also AEML, which is Adani Electricity Mumbai Limited at Mumbai. It is a distribution company, and the another company, electricity distribution company, is at Mundra. So this is some glimpse about the Mumbai electricity distribution. We have around 9 220 by 33 kV substations, around 104 33 by 11 kV distribution substations, more than 7,500 consumer substations, then more than 4 lakh meter cabin, and then around 3.2 million customers are currently catered through this network. So currently we are using drones for mainly for the line inspections. Like if you look at the transmission lines, most of our lines are traversing through the hilly terrain or the mountains and crossing the rivers, where it becomes difficult to inspect these transmission towers and the lines manually, because many times the ROW becomes the difficult to reach out those locations. Second, most of these lines are inspected manually, where human factor becomes a critical role. Like for example, the crew goes on site and then they are identifying the defects from the bottom of the transmission tower. So they identify the defects, which are close to the transmission tower, but the defects which are on the top side of the transmission tower, they are difficult to detect. So here we have come up with a solution where we are using the drones for the transmission line inspections. So our crew flies the drone on the site, and then they identify. So mainly they captures the images. Once the videos are captured, then we are uploading those videos into the AIML solutions, which is developed in-house by the team. And then the solution is actually identifying what are the various defects based on those videos. So we have identified around 53 type of various defects. Normally there are for the transmission towers, like for example, tower members missing or ACD members missing, then damaged insulators. So all these type of defects we are actually capturing using the AIML models deployed. So this is helping us in two ways. One way is that it has helped us to improve the productivity of the crew who are going on site. So earlier, let's say if they are doing the 5 to 6 towers in a day, now they are doing around 15 to 16 towers in a day, which has helped us to improve the productivity by 300%. Second, it is helping us to capture all types of defects. See, since there is no any human factor involved while capturing the defects, and robots are capturing the image for the entire tower, the AIML is capturing 100% defect through this solution. So the process involves first is the order, where we generate the order for the inspection. Then the team goes on site and they conduct the drone based patrolling. Then they upload these images into the software, and then software is automatically detecting the defects, and then we are creating the notifications again back to the ERP. So out of these 53 defects mentioned here, again we have currently developed in-house model for the 13 defects. So like for example, it is based on the business priority. Like for example, it is critical to check the defects for the tower structure. So there are 7 areas like tower structure, conductor, insulator, earth wire, then foundation span, general observation, and OPGW. So for business, tower structure becomes a critical, because if there are any tower member missing, then it is a issue of tower structural stability. So based on the requirement of the business, we have developed the models for these 13 key defects we mentioned in the green color as a first phase. So solution development stage comprises of 4 stages. So first stage was to create capture layer, where team is capturing the images and videos using the drone as well as the mobile devices. Parallelly, we have developed these models using the images. So the domain expert has helped us to identify which are the good images, which are the bad images, or which are the defect free images and which are with defect images. So that has helped us to annotate those images and then train the model based on those images. Now once this model, we feed these images to the model. Model is trained over multiple images, and then we have deployed the workflow automation, which is nothing but once you detect the defects, then it is generating a notification in ERP system. So this is a high level architecture where drone feeds are stored at the blob storage, as well as field force mobility, the mobile app, which is with the field crew. They are also capturing the images and storing it on the blob storage with metadata of the information. Then the computer vision, the AI/ML model is actually detecting the anomalies into those videos and the images, and then accordingly creating the notification. So this is a few sample that I just shared here. Like normally the input image is something like the tower basement, and then the output image from the model is, it actually identifies the defect along with the criticality. So this is another image which is on the, let's say, top side of the tower. So normally, even while I will just show you, when we are capturing the entire drone image, and once we feed this image to the model, then model automatically identifies where exactly or what are the types of defects present into the video. So this is the performance of the model in terms of various types of defect, and it is actually predicting the recall as well as the precision and the overall score of the defect or the model. So key learning from this usage of the drone for the inspection is that similar solution can also be deployed for the distribution network, which is a key network, let's say from the 22 kV to 66 kV distribution lines. We also had a few key learnings in terms of that, there are few areas, where you have to go for the DGCA approvals, like the airport or the funnel of the airport. Then SOP and the training becomes the critical for the capturing the videos. Like for example, whosoever is the pilot or the drone pilots are there, we have to ensure that they are capturing the images as required for the model, as well as the training for the smooth adoption becomes the critical. While developing the model, the domain expertise plays a critical role, where they have to unload those images in terms of good image and the bad image. And then the training, because again, developing a AI model requires sufficient images and videos with more accuracy, and that helps to improve the accuracy further. We are also using the drones for the disaster management, which is like, for example, during the monsoon or the heavy rainfall or the flood conditions, we are using drones for monitoring the flood conditions and assess the site conditions. Many times, it happens that, like for example, if in the flood area, you also need to assess how much is the structural damage to the transmission line as well as the distribution assets which are inundated into the flood water. So we are basically using drones to understand what is the water extent level, or what is the depth estimates, what are the water levels, which are the assets which are inundated into the flood, and then how we can plan. So based on those images, those videos, we are actually planning the resources, so that once water received, we are quickly deploying the resources, and then ensuring that we are ensuring the network back to normalcy. So drones are mainly used to plan the resources for faster disaster recovery, as well as identify the approach or access during those flood situations. We are also exploring the drone robots for the for the inspection of inspection of transmission line. So this use case is similar to the drone use case. See, again, for the drones, you have to take drone along with 3-4 batteries, go on site, you have to fly the drone. Let's say if the drone flies for 20 minutes, again you have to replace the battery and again fly the drone. So again, this is a manual cumbersome process where we are also exploring the robots. So like, let's say for example, if it is a 300-kilometer line, you have to robot will be start the inspection from the one end and it will go to the another end. So it will reduce the manual intervention, it will reduce travel on the site, and the robot will do the same thing in terms of it will capture the thermal images as well as the RGB images. Now these robots can be the teleoperated or the autonomous robots. So currently robots are being used by the various countries in or utilities in the China as well as the US and UK. So we are also exploring these type of solutions for the inspection purpose, and it will give the same results as the drone will offer in terms of measuring the assessment of the foundation condition, the tower structure, the conductor conditions, as well as the insulator strings. We are also exploring the robots for the substation maintenance. So this is another use case where today there is a substation maintenance team, who ensures the condition monitoring or the thermal as well as the physical damages to the assets. Then the routine substation inspections of the equipments, as well as they are tracking whether there is any perimeter breach or any security breaches. And then they are also ensuring the remote work assistance to the maintenance team. So we are exploring to deploy the robots as a helping or the assistant to those shift engineers or the maintenance crew, which will be like the again teleoperated or the guided robots, which will be mainly monitoring the condition of the assets into the substation. This is another use case where we are deploying the drones with LiDAR. So like for example, if we have to construct a new line from let's say point A to point B. Now there are many obstacles in terms of the roads like national highway, forest, or the creeks, rivers. So now when you are designing or when you are planning a route, it becomes critical, what are the constraints on the site. Normally this is done, where the person goes or the crew goes on site. They
Mr. Bapura, please try to sum up.
the satellite imageries as well as the drones with LiDAR. We are actually creating the site in a digital, or we can say it is a digital site, and then we are identifying the best route, which will be the optimum route for the new lines to be laid. This is another use cases which we are currently deploying at distribution business, which are related to the image and the sound analytics. So like for example, the electricity distribution company, they have the equipments like meter cabin, then LT and streetlight cubicles, transformer, RMU and switch gears. And today team goes on site, they inspect the equipments and then they note down or they update the defects into the mobile app. Now we are moving from that mobile based submission of defect to the image based defect, where they have to only capture the images of the equipment, and then the AIML model itself will identify what are the defects into those equipments. Like here, we have shown the thermal image of the, let's say, LT pillar, and it is showing the temperature at the various circuits. So earlier, the supervisor on the site used to submit the defects. Now AI/ML model is itself identifying, what is the temperature, and then accordingly creating the notifications. So these are the few use cases in terms of detecting the anomalies, then identifying the quality of installation, then hotspot on the equipments, OCR based meter reading, as well as we are exploring to use the sound analytics to identify the rusty street light poles. So these are the few use cases that we are currently deploying in distribution business.
Okay.
So this is the overall conclusion about my presentation, where the drones are mainly used for the line patrolling, and it has helped us to improve the productivity by 300%. It is also capturing 100% effect.
Very good.
Drones are also used for the disaster management and the LiDAR-based surveys for the new network laying, whereas the robots are mainly used for the inspection purpose and the substation patrolling. So that's it from my side.
Thank you, Mr. Bapura, for excellent presentation and sharing the practical field experience. Due to paucity of time, we may not able to take questions. We all are requested to post the questions. We'll share with the speakers. And there are some people are seeking the soft copy of that. Mr. Rauji and Subhishan, please collect the soft copy. We'll share the interested person because they lack the presentation of everyone. With this, we are going to the concluding session. And in this, we request Shri Biswajit Basu sir, is the Managing Director, Tripura State Electricity Corporation Limited. He has a lot of experience in hydropower distribution, played a key role in improving efficiency of TSCCA. Mr. Basu, please give your remarks.
Namaskar, sir.
Namaskar.
Good evening, sirs. Respected Sri R.B. Shahi, President, India Energy Forum. Respected Sri I.S. Jha, Chairman, TND Group, IEF. Esteemed speakers, distinguished experts, participants, and my dear colleague, Dr. Subir Sen, the convener. Sir, I am connected from Agartala, Tripura. Sir, it's a great pleasure for me to address the gathering of distinguished experts, participants in the concluding session of the webinar on emerging technologies and business models in distribution. When DISCOMs are facing dual challenge of ensuring reliable supply along with customer-centric services and improve their financial performance. I congratulate India Energy Forum for organizing such relevant event on distribution in the context of clean energy transition and energy security era with sustainability. Our country has seen rapid progress in the power sector in terms of installed capacity and electricity access. Total installed capacity is about 509 gigawatt, including 260 gigawatt from non-fossil based, while peak demand has reached to about 250 gigawatt. Target installed capacity of non-fossil capacity is 500 gigawatt by 2030. Transmission infrastructure has been expanded significantly. In the distribution sector, the RDSS scheme has led to the installation of nearly 20 million smart meters, feeder meters, and DT meters, improving efficiency and reducing losses. Special initiatives have ensured electrification for households. Reforms have strengthened consumer rights, simplified rooftop solar installation, including PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, where many of the consumers have now become prosumers, promoted EV adoption, and rationalized open access charges for large consumers. Having said that, India's renewable energy transition is no longer constrained by the ability to build clean energy generation capacity through solar wind installations, which have crossed 190 gigawatt. DISCOMs sit at the heart of India's clean energy transition. Improving their operation performance and financial strength are therefore critical. In Tripura, TSECL has taken various measures to reduce losses and enhance revenue collection through integration of emerging technologies and digitalization efforts. Besides installation of covered conductor in 11 kV line, LT-AV cable, smart prepaid meters, underground cable in vulnerable areas, provision of EV charging, now introducing drone-based monitoring for hook line removal and to reduce the power theft. Emphasis given on distributed renewable capacity addition in the form of PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. We have already achieved 6.5 megawatt. PM Kusum as well as grid connected energy storage system at 33 kV level. The challenge becomes more acute as renewable penetration rises, increasing rooftop solar capacity and energy storage installations, ED adoption, etc. Variability in the supply increases, peak demand becomes costlier to serve, and balancing become core system functions. Yet, DISCOM incentives viability remain tied primarily to volumetric electricity sales rather than to maximizing overall system efficiency. Some of the very changes needed for the energy transition can appear financially threatening to DISCOMs because they reduce sales and shift fixed cost onto a smaller base of residential consumers. DISCOMs recover a substantial share of their revenues from commercial and industrial consumers who pay tariff well above the cost. When these high-paying consumers invest in energy efficiency, adopt rooftop solar, DISCOMs lose their highest margin sales but continue to bear the obligation of serving subsidized consumers, which strains their finances. At the same time, sir, DISCOM face large fixed cost from network operations and maintenance to capacity payments under long-term power purchase agreements. Whenever energy efficiency or behind the meter solar reduces demand, these costs do not disappear. If tariffs are predominantly volumetric, fewer kilowatt hours sold means less revenue to cover the same fixed obligations. Demand response may lower peak demand, but the overall cost savings on power procurement can be limited when fixed costs dominate while revenue could take a hit immediately. Sir, rooftop solar further alters the economics of DISCOM most valuable consumers. Net metering, when permitted, credits exported solar power at or near the retail tariff. Consumers reduce purchases during the day when the sun is out, while continuing to rely on the grid at night. Unless suitable tariff designs evolves, DISCOMs effectively become backup providers without being fully compensated for the service. None of these implies, sir, that energy efficiency, rooftop solar, or demand response are inherently harmful to DISCOMs. What makes these measures financially threatening is the absence of complementary tariff reform, the deployment and use of smart technologies, and incentive redesign. If regulators allow DISCOMs to recover fixed network costs and earn returns for reliability, loss reduction, and flexibility, then these same measures can become tools that DISCOM actively want rather than risks they seek to avoid. India has mandated time of day tariff and scaling smart meters at unprecedented speed. But price signals alone are not enough to shift demand away from the peak times. For time varying tariffs to work, consumers must understand when electricity is expensive, know which appliance drive peak consumption, and be able to respond without constant effort. In practice, many households and small firms lack the time, information, or coordination to do this manually. Tariff reform must be paired with smart technologies that allow demand to respond automatically, such as smart thermostats for cooling, smart charging for electric vehicles, and smart plugs and switches for appliance level automation. Without automation, we are effectively asking households to act as real-time energy managers, which is unrealistic. While investments in grid networks and energy storage are essential, well-designed automated demand response can often deliver similar flexibility at lower cost. Also, sir, power market reform is in this regard will be very helpful. Transitioning to a nationwide market-based economic dispatch system, a centralized framework would ensure that cheapest available power, including zero marginal cost renewables, is dispatched first ahead of generators with a higher short-run marginal cost. Sir, also power transmission cost is also increasing on a regular basis. A detailed deliberation can be arranged in future. We are also, sir, investing heavily on cyber security. That can be detailed in future deliberations. In the end, sir, I would like to emphasize that DISCOMs are playing key role to bring Indian power sector into next orbit and facilitate Vikshit Bharat by 2047. Modernization of distribution infrastructure and improvement of DISCOM's financial health through integration of emerging technologies and suitable policy and regulatory reforms are essential. I hope the deliberation held in this valuable webinar would pave way in the long run for formulation of enabling framework on distribution modernization and accelerate clean energy transition for sustainable future. Thank you, sir. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your thoughts. Now we request Sri R.V. Sai sir to give a presidential final concluding remarks. Sir, Sai sir has had some meeting, that's why he left the thing. So now we are moving directly to Dr. Subir Sen to convey a vote of thanks. Subir?
Good afternoon. Yes, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. It is my proud privilege to propose the vote of thanks of the today's important webinar titled Emerging Technologies and Business Models in Distribution. At the outset, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to Sri R.V. Shaiji, President, India Energy Forum, who, in spite of his busy schedule, has been kind enough to address the audience from utilities, developers, various EPC agencies, policymakers, experts, technology solution providers, academicians, research students, and delivered a thought-provoking opening remarks. I extend our heartfelt thanks to all the esteemed speakers, Sri Biswajit Basuji, MD TSECL, Sri Abhishek Ranjanji, CEO, BSES Rajdhani Limited, Delhi, S. Kane, Chief Transmission Business and Group of India Energy Forum, Sri I.S. Jha, who has been instrumental in this webinar at the appropriate time. We sincerely appreciate all the participants who have spared their valuable time and took part in the discussion for last 2 hours. Your active participation and interaction have already created an inspiring environment to address various challenges in distribution in the wake of renewable energy integration, DER, EV adoption, energy storage adoption with modern distribution infrastructure. I must thank Sri S.S. Rawat, Secretary General India Energy Forum, in ensuring the success of today's important webinar. Lastly, but not the least, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all those who have made this event possible. Let's work together to explore and discuss groundbreaking strategies that will shape the future of our power systems with a specific reference to efficient and affordable distribution system. Thank you all for being here and active participation. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Subir Sen. And On behalf of the Indian Energy Forum, I thank all the speakers for their excellent presentation. There are few questions were there. We'll post to you all the speakers. Some of the things are just mentioning you. That's a few questions. One was Mr. Ranjan can reply later on.
If you want, I can elaborate.
For experience with the rooftop, whether you are facing the problem technically, commercially, Mr. Basu has raised the thing, net metering issues, how to go about this. Similarly, to Mr. Pavan Vishkarma, see, everybody is saying large scale demand response is very much necessary. What role can AI play in increasing the demand response in a scale? These are the two questions. If you have the time, you post it. At the same time, your presentation was in big in demand. I am seeing the chart, so many people are seeking your presentations. Please give a copy to our office, to our IEF. We'll share with the interested person. Thank you very much. With this, we conclude today's webinar. And thank you all the sir, all the participants, everybody there. I am seeing even the last thing, about 100 people are still connected. It was so interesting topic. Thank you very much, sir.